In the midst of chaos, there is opportunity. Sun Tzu. Hi, this is Heather Pickin, and welcome to my channel. Today, I want to do a topic that I think is really important, and it is for those people that are watching this. They're trying to kind of figure out their life purpose in the midst of this crisis or after this crisis. And I wanted to create this video for a couple different audiences. Number one, you already have a business. Maybe it's a business that got shut down due to the pandemic. So you're feeling hopeless and you're kind of in your head, not knowing what to do. This video will absolutely help you. Also, maybe you have a business right now and you're feeling really overwhelmed. As you're feeling, if you don't know how to manage your emotions during this time, it's going to be really hard for you to focus. So I'm going to share with you some steps that will help you to kind of bring you back to purpose, align yourself with your vision and mission and why you're here. Now, maybe you lost your job recently. This has happened to so many people and you're wondering, okay, what do I do? What can I do to make money online in this world today? I mean, the good news is that online is never going away. And now, transforming what we're doing is we're transforming the crisis into an opportunity. It will not happen if you don't learn to shift your perception. So we're going to talk about what some of those steps are. And the third audience that I want to focus on is maybe you do have a job, but you're freaking out because you don't know if you're going to have your job tomorrow. Let's face it, there is no security in having a job. So you want to create a side hustle. I have helped many people that have had a corporate job get into their side hustle so then they could do that full time. So we're going to go through that. So stay with me. And if you like this video, if you find it to be helpful, make sure that you hit the like button. One of the very first things that I want to talk about, and I think this is really interesting, is I want to talk about really understanding who you are. And this goes back to a concept by the Greeks called axiology. It is actually a study in philosophy based on human value and worth. Now, why is this important when we talk about finding your life purpose after a crisis? Well, it's important because what they've realized that every single person has a different worldview. We can actually see this going on right now, different views being expressed. So the question is, how can I really monetize that? If I know I have a different view, then how can I take that and really understand who I am and why I'm here and what my purpose is? Well, let's kind of build out this concept of axiology so you understand a little bit more and you can kind of see how things are changing, how things actually have changed in your life. You can also look at different events in history, in your past life. No, not your past life, but your past life. I know that's kind of confusing. But anyways, when we look at axiology, they realize that everyone, again, sees the world in a different way. We have a hierarchy of values, and what we feel is most important to us, guess what? It's going to be different to other people. Now, we can look at this in the context of someone, let's just say a mother that has kids or is going to have a baby. If a woman, especially during these times, if she is pregnant right now, she is absolutely 100% going to have a high value on that child. And what she is going to do is she is going to study and research everything that she can do to protect her child, how to raise her child. And so if she was an entrepreneur, let's just say one of her highest values was working on her business and she now is pregnant, guess what's going to happen? Her values are going to change. So your values change through different events in your life, and they can actually change through a crisis situation. So if you lost your job or if something happened in your business or if something happened in your health, then those can actually rearrange the order. So through a crisis, catastrophic events. As we, there's certain, as we grow older, we have a higher value towards certain things. So when you were a child, one of your highest values was obviously hanging out with your friends. And those things start changing as you start growing and evolving. Some of you went to college and then that became a higher priority. Then from college to, getting out there in your adult life, maybe starting a family, starting a business. And so you can see how all of this is played out and how some people, some people don't have a high value on having kids, right? Does that make them wrong? No. So it's really important, number one, to understand what your unique formulas. And so what I've created in my course, the Vision Method Intensive, is based on what I call your life matrix, on the 8 areas of life, and understanding and identifying where you fall in, what right now in this moment is important to you that you're focusing on and that you're taking action. And so just to give you a shortcut, what this looks like, think about are you taking action and focusing on your mindset? Are you taking action and focusing on your health and fitness? Are you focusing on your finances and money? Are you investing? Are you building your business? Are you focusing on your career? So basically, you want to look at your life and you want to see the pattern. So what I do is I help people to understand their own pattern recognition, recognizing the patterns of what makes you unique. And the cool thing about that is once you understand who you are, and you're not going to try to compare yourself to other people. So this is the part of what I don't like with respect to social media. You go onto social media, you start looking at everyone else's social media account, like something like Instagram. And, Instagram is nothing more than like a curated life. I call this the curated life. A lot of it is this unrealistic fantasy, unrealistic expectations. And so what happens is people will start to compare themselves to the people they see in these filters, right? In these curated filters, all these pictures being filtered out. I think it's interesting. And so then you start beating yourself up, right? And so once you dial it back and you start seeing your own uniqueness and you start owning it and packaging it and expressing it in a way that people are drawn to you, that's how you can really start finding your purpose. So talking about axiology, what it is, understanding that we live by the top 3 of our highest values in what I call your life matrix of the 8 areas. I actually will post the 8 areas below. So you can actually do a shortcut and look to see where are you spending your time the most, where you're obsessed. In the Vision Method Intensive course, I go into that in more depth, but I'm just going to give you a shortcut. Look to see what that is. It really is what your life is demonstrating. Another thing that we want to talk about, and really understanding your unique purpose is what are you obsessed about? So look at what your life demonstrates. What are you obsessed about? What are you just like, if I woke you up at 2 a.m. in the morning and said, come on,
we're going on a shopping spree.
Would you want to do that? Or come on, we're going to watch SpaceX, launch another rocket. Would that be of interest to you? I'm kind of curious. What would you do at 2 a.m.? So post your comment below. I'm really curious because that's going to tell me a lot about one of your highest values. So again, we live by our top 3. Another thing to look for is what do you perceive missing in your life that you keep going after, you keep chipping away, and your life is showing evidence. If you grow up in a household where your family didn't have a lot of money, and you can see today that you have money as a high value, and you'll know if you have money as a high value, not the spending of money, but the saving and investing of money. So just kind of look to see if that is congruent for you. It's not what you say. It's kind of like I always tell women that are wanting to find their ideal relationship. I said, don't go by what the person says. Go by their actions. So the actions and words have to be congruent. So it's the same thing when you're trying to find out what your purpose is. What are you congruent about in your life. Okay, so make sure that you write that down, and also make sure you comment below what you would do at 2 a.m. if I knocked on your door. No, I'm not going to be creepy about it. No, I'm actually not going to do it, but you get the picture. Maybe it's the shopping spree. I'm really interested to hear. Okay, so the next step that you want to do is you want to research and reflect. So now that you understand what you're all about, what am I obsessed about? What really is rattling around in my head? What am I taking action on? I want you to research and reflect. Here's how you can apply it. If you want to pivot in your business right now, then you're like, maybe I'm here to do something different. It might be totally different. It just might be a slight pivot. And so that's where you can turn the crisis, or I should say, transform the crisis into an opportunity. It doesn't feel like it is in the moment. When you're going through a crisis in the moment, if you don't have an awareness, a balanced awareness that what is happening to you can actually be a benefit if you look for it, then you're always going to stay in the crisis mode. Okay. So when I'm working with entrepreneurs or business leaders, anyone that has a crisis situation, what I do is I go in there and I show them the other side. The other side is about finding the wisdom to balance their mind with that right idea. So if we're talking in the context of finding a pivot in your business, when you balance those emotions, guess what? You're going to find that pivot. So you want to do your research. You want to have that reflection, that reflection time. You want to do the research, go onto YouTube, videos just like this. And I do several videos on just goal setting, subconscious programs, mindset, business building. What topics are really inspiring you the most? So you want to research and you want to reflect, right? So that you can assimilate the information. In the Vision Method Intensive, I go through this. I go through how to identify your unique formula, how to do the research, how you can reflect on it. Even if you have a business right now and you want to get to the next level, a lot of times people don't take the time to plan out, right? They're just reactionary. So I teach you how to ground yourself, how to be more mindful, and do the things that absolutely make sense so that you're going to find this life purpose. So remember, in a crisis, there's always an opportunity. There's always the other side. There's never a dark without a light. So think about your darkest moments and look to see what you've learned by going through that. Now, I've helped clients through a lot of really what people would say, wow, this is a tragic event. This is horrible. And how they got through that is how they would change their perception with the situation. Realize if you can't move past anything that is just like taking up what I call that mental real estate in your mind, that is going to block you from finding your life purpose. Okay. So anything that takes up that mental real estate in your mind is a block that will actually block you in money, relationships, any area of your life. So you want to resolve that. You want to resolve and dissolve those issues. I do teach that in my one-on-one clients in the Vision Method, in my group programs. You have to go through the experience in order to dissolve it. Guess what? It doesn't take years for you to resolve the trauma. It doesn't take years to resolve the drama. You know why? Because neuroscience says that our brain is neuroplastic, meaning you can change in milliseconds. So why aren't we doing it? Well, a lot of people, to be honest, don't know how. A lot of the methodologies that are out there are ineffective. I just happen to be trained in ways of understanding neuroplasticity and being able to shift those easily. So again, it does not take years to resolve and dissolve those. It really is about getting in there and understanding, balancing those perceptions. And I've done videos on this before. I'm not going to get into it today. So again, do your research and reflect. Another question you want to ask yourself is, what makes me unique? So as you did the other step, you're researching and reflecting. So we're going to bring this all together. I want you to ask yourself, what makes me really unique? What is so freaking special about you? And this is kind of how I came about to develop the vision method intensive and also the vision journal. They're similar, but they're not the same. The method is actually the whole process of what I've been teaching my clients. The intensive gets into more of the mindset piece and hands on with me. The journal is more about gaining clarity on your vision, prioritizing, planning, helps you to rewire your brain, improves your memory. I've got this whole mindfulness component. And the reason why I'm sharing that with you is as I started to evolve my business, I said, what is the one thing that I know is so unique about me that no one else has? And so as I scanned my life and looking at my voids, like being overweight, having issues with the relationships, feeling like everything was so hard, I realized how to crack the human mind. Did I really crack the human mind? Cracking the brain? I don't know. Cracking the code? Hacking. Yes, hacked. Cracking and hacking. No, but anyways, I realized that part of my secret sauce and my unique formula is my discipline and teaching others how to be disciplined with their goals, help them to create that aligned vision and really put it all into this system. So when I had a weight issue, one of the things that literally rewired my brain was competing in a bodybuilding contest. So that taught me discipline. And so I saw that as I started to create a vision for what I wanted in my physique, that everything started to line up. I had to do daily practices. I had all these different priorities and practices that I had to put in place. And that's actually what I designed in the vision journal, how to really harness the power of your day and mindfulness, everything that you say you want to do. How do you do it, right? How do you set goals that are aligned with who you are? And so that's why I wanted to create it, because I thought this came naturally to everyone. I thought just setting goals was natural for everyone. And I realized that people really struggled with this. So getting back to my question, what makes you so unique in what you do or who you are? So if you don't have a business, you might say, okay, well, what's a reoccurring theme and pattern that people have told me, oh, you're so good at da 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 da, or wow, you're good at this. So what is that? And then we have to go in and refine it. So it can't just be, well, oh, I like coaching people. It has to be a little bit deeper than that in order for you to really gain clarity, which brings us to the next step. Okay, so this is where you want to gain clarity on your vision. When your vision is not clear, you attract chaos and confusion in your life. So we're talking about your life purpose. Look to see where your chaos is. If you got fired from that job, can you see where, did you really want that job? I know there's part of you that probably did not want that job, that you probably had that thought, well, what it would be like to go out there in the world and do my own thing. Well, guess what? The universe is giving you exactly what you wish for. So be careful what you put out there. So gaining clarity on your vision, being crystal clear, look to see. So let's talk about what this looks like on a couple different levels. First off, let's talk about, you have a business right now. You need to pivot in that business. So then what you need to look at is, okay, if this business right now is not working out or my business got shut down, then where do I need to gain clarity? So let's just say you've dialed it in and you've realized, let's just say your business before was a yoga store. You sold yoga clothing, but you realized that you've always kept yourself in shape and health and fitness was a big part of your life. So maybe you want to focus on health and fitness. So that is too general, okay? You want to dial it in, gain a little clarity, and say, well, what am I really obsessed about? What really makes me unique with respect to fitness and health? So maybe you are so focused and obsessed with like a raw food diet, right? So can you see how that could be your genius zone? Now, let's also look at it this way. Let's kind of take a step back. There's a lot of people out there that are talking about raw food diet. So how are you going to make it different? Okay, so let's have a little fun with this. What if you combined your raw food diet, your system, your formula, with your personality of like maybe you're very humorous, right? So maybe you want to tell jokes and I don't know. I'm just making this up. And maybe you're laughing about this, but there are actually people that are taking, I've seen this where they take their own uniqueness and they package it in a way where it stands out. Okay. So it's definitely going to stand out when you're true to you and you find the uniqueness. So take time. I have an 8-week program that shows people how to do this. You got to take the time. It's not an overnight job, but it's not going to take years for you to figure out. Let's talk about in the context if you are working for someone and you're wanting to do your side hustle. You want to make sure that your vision is clear, that you're inspired by working at your current job. If you're not, what happens? You'll take your attention away from your performance and you'll lose your job sooner than you want. So make sure that you secure yourself in that place, that you're still a high performer, but also gaining clarity for when you're going to work on your business. What is the vision of this business, this side hustle that you're going to start, where you see yourself, let's say, leaving that job? Okay. You want to think about the different ways about creating the clear vision. So the clearer you are in your vision, the people and the resources will show up. Okay. So you may want to write that down. Write it down. Actually, comment below. When I am clear, the people and resources appear. I like to rhyme so that people understand that you're getting it into your brain. You're absorbing that information. When I am clear, the people and resources appear. Or actually, let me add a layer to that. When I'm clear on my vision, the people and resources appear. Okay. So you dial it into clarity. So it's like if I go to a restaurant and say, waiter, I want some food. And he brings me back a plate of snails. And I don't like snails. I've never tried them, but I'm not about to try them. Okay. You get what I'm saying. So we got to get crystal clear, because any loophole that you leave out, someone or something will cause the chaos and confusion. So when I teach this in my intensive, I help people to dial in the clarity of their vision, mission, and purpose. Now, here's the thing. It is not going to be some generic vision that you're writing. It's going to be true to you. It's not going to be a fantasy. I see people promoting on YouTube land ridiculous fantasies that are not congruent with who they are. And so when you're setting fantasy goals, guess what? You're going to set yourself up to be upset 100%. Okay. So look at those videos. Are you comparing yourself? Are you wishing and wanting? I know the formula that I teach works by the action. The action always speaks louder than words. So as you're building your vision, you can grow it, as big as you want. And this is what makes sense to me. I will not promote get rich quick schemes. There's a lot going on there in cyberspace, in cyberland. What I promote is having a balanced mind, have a balanced strategy so that you're seeing things on the way instead of in the way. And the reason why this is so important is that if you have a balanced mind and thinking, you'll actually get your goals faster that you set that are congruent to you than a fantasy goal, right? A fantasy goal and I'm going to give you an example of a fantasy goal. Fantasy goal is someone that has never had a business and you expect to make $1 million in, let's say, 2 months. It's not going to happen, okay, unless you inherit the money. I've never seen anyone that I've worked with be able to do that. What I've seen is people having consistent action. Just giving you a couple scenarios. So working with a client, she came to me, she's making about 6 figures. By the time that we're done, she made $500,000. Now she's on her way to making $1 million. I've worked with other clients that are, they've made a couple thousand a month and, like 3,000 a month and their goal was 10,000. That's not a fantasy goal because they already have the proof that they have, attracted those clients. So now if your business is bigger, if you're making 7 figures or 8 figures and you want to expand it, can you see how your goals are going to be bigger to the degree of where you're at in your life, in your vision? Don't look at those videos, because what I feel that they're teaching you is a false construct. Okay. I teach you a way where you can start building things and sustaining things. And that to me is true mastery, being able to evolve your business in your brain, finding your life purpose. So the last thing I want to talk about with your vision, you have to, anything that you're selling has to be of value to obviously yourself, right? It has to be of value to other people. So the bigger your vision and the value that you bring to the world, greater you will be rewarded. Okay. So when you refine your vision, you get clear, the more value you bring to other people, the more that you will get back. Right. And so you might be overwhelmed, like, well, where do I start? Well, you start small, then you can grow and evolve it. I've helped people to build their business, build their teams. When I talk teams, like if you have a coaching or consulting, any type of business that involves hiring other employees, you always start growing in the direction that makes sense for you. And there's always growing pains, right? There's always growing pains. But the last thing I will say about the vision is that you want to understand how to package and price your programs or your product. Normally, when I'm talking about finding your life purpose, I'm usually talking about it in the respect of starting some kind of business. There's so many different businesses that you can create online. But here's the thing. I want to be real with you. I remember when I started my business and I was doing things just to get money. I did a couple of MLMs. I'm not going to tell you which ones they were. And, for me, it just wasn't me. It wasn't me because number one, I didn't believe in the product and I was just doing it for the money. And so you never do it for the money. You do it for the mission and the purpose. And then of course the money is a byproduct. Actually, let me reframe that, because I don't want you to take this out of context. I don't want you to think that money is a bad thing. You want to do it for your mission and the value that you're going to help people in this world. And then you get to be paid for the value that you bring. You have to have both. Don't be sold that having money is a bad thing. Being all altruistic and just giving all your money away, in my opinion, is futile. You know why? Because you're not helping anyone out if you don't have any money, right? I will defend my stance on that. You have to have a balance, right? You have to have a balance. You have to have a value on what you're offering so that you can actually receive it. You will not be able to ask for the sale, especially if you want to do any coaching or consulting at a high level, if you don't value yourself. You're not going to ask for that $10,000 high ticket coaching or consulting package if you don't value who you are. And I have taught clients how to do that. I've taught them how to sell on all price points, but I know that it's internal. So I know this video was kind of long today, but I hope this helps you. So my question to you is, have you started to find your purpose and realize that every crisis has a silver lining? You can't have dark without a light. You need to seize the opportunity right now. Start having that reflection, do the inner work. And if you're interested in learning more about the Vision Method Intensive, I do teach that in small groups and one-to-one. I'm actually going to come out with my vision journal, patent pending, when we actually file for the patent, fingers crossed, this month. And I will be putting links below. So let me know what your purpose is, what you think it is, and what you would do at 2 a.m. Until next time, this is Heather Pickin, and live fearlessly. Subscribe.